They tried to steal my house. I made the city tear it down. The doorbell rang, and a process server handed me eviction papers for my own duplex. I inhaled a coffee bean and wheezed. From who? The packet said Tiffany, my sister-in-law, had assigned my deed using a signature that looked like my emo phase autograph. 30 days to vacate, pay rent to her, hand over keys. My mortgage didn't care about family drama. My tenants would panic. If she pulled this off, I'd lose the house I rebuilt with ramen-fueled hands. Cry or fight. I chose both. First a 90-second towel sob, then spreadsheet warfare, and a plan to weaponize compliance. The house and the entitlement primer. I fell in love with the duplex when it smelled like a raccoon divorce. Unit A coughed dust. Unit B sulked. I sanded floors until my wrists hummed, showered with a bucket during the plumbing saga, and learned 50 ways to season ramen regret. I named the sander. We went through something together. Contractor highlights? The electrician who labeled every breaker, mystery. The plumber who diagnosed haunted pipes and asked for cash. The HVAC guy who installed the thermostat upside down because heat rises. I learned permits, inspections, and how to cry quietly into a caulk line. Enter Tiffany, my spouse's sister, in a walking entitlement parade. Her resume includes borrowing my stand mixer for a cupcake emergency that lasted 6 months, RSVPing herself into my guest room via group text, and demanding my garage for inventory of vibes. She believes possession is 9/10 of the law, and the other 10th is a confident shrug. The first time she toured the duplex, she narrates like a game show host. We'll knock this wall down. I'll put a vanity here, wine fridge there. We? She contributed a scented candle that smelled like bankruptcy. My spouse, saintly peacemaker, tried to keep the peace. I kept receipts, scanned, clouded, folder named in case of shenanigans. Then, while I was at work one summer, Tiffany commissioned Curb Appeal, a porch enclosure by her cousin, YouTube University, class of yesterday. No permit, no plan. Pallet wood leaned into the sidewalk like it was gossiping. I said, take it down. Tiffany said, it's not a structure, it's a mood that violates setbacks. So when the process server blessed me with chaos, I flipped through the packet and found her assignment of deed. Fonts were fighting. The notary stamp looked like it vacationed in Montana. The signature was mine, but with teenage eyeliner energy. 30 days, a hearing in 10. Pay rent to Tiffany now. My stomach posted a 1-star review. I called her. She answered in full telethon voice. Great, keys by Friday. I asked for her lawyer. He's boutique, which is code for a printer. The lawyer developed a rare condition where every sentence ended in a. Continuous occupancy, equitable ownership, I asked for recorded documents. He said, we'll circle back. He was a frisbee. Here's where I should say, I stayed calm. I didn't. I spiraled hard for an hour. My tenant Carlos called. A lady named Tiffany slid a note saying pay her rent now. Loyalty pricing if I zell. I said, do not. He said, my uncle's a code inspector. Bless him in his lineage. Then I aimed the spiral. New spreadsheet. Tiffany versus facts. Tabs. Title chain. Permits. Photos. Survey. HOA. DIY crimes. And a petty bingo square labeled notary nonsense. I pulled the county recorder index. My deed. Refinance. Lien release. Yes. Her assignment? Nowhere. I Googled the notary on her stamp. LinkedIn bragging former notary, now dog groomer Montana. Our state is pointedly not Montana. Screenshot. Paste. Free space. Filled. Next, the municipal code rabbit hole. The city website looks like it retired in 2004. Dead links. PDF sideways. But 30 tabs in, I found a zoning overlay map. My parcel shaded as Historic Neighborhood Preservation, HD1. That matters because I remembered a neighbor rant about certificates of appropriateness for exterior changes. Tiffany's porch corset needs permits, approvals, and a time machine. I called the city clerk. She said, come in with cookies. I bake bribes. Meanwhile, I cross-checked the survey with setback diagrams. Minimum setback, 10 feet. Tiffany's lean-to kissed 8. I measured twice, kissed my tape measure like it saved my marriage. At City Hall, Permit Tech Mateo met my binder like it was a therapy dog. He studied the assignment. He didn't touch it at first. These fonts are beefing, he said, then pointed at the stamp. That's not our format, I whispered. Montana. He smirked. Cute. I dropped cookies at the clerk's desk and asked for anything on HD1 transfers. She vanished into archives and re-emerged with a manila folder from 1929, reaffirmed in 2004. In contested transfers within the preservation overlay, the city must run a pre-transfer integrity audit, measurements, photos, and, if necessary, opening walls or removing non-permitted additions to verify compliance before any transfer is recognized. Bureaucracy with teeth. I filed a contested transfer notice citing that clause, attached porch photos, survey overlays, tenant statements, and the HOA newsletter that once roasted my porch in pixelated shame. Mateo stamped it. "Audit in 10 business days," he said. "Expect noise." I said, "I brought earplugs and labels." This is where vulnerability matters. That night, I lay on the floor doing math on the ceiling. If I lost, I'd have to tell my spouse we were moving out of the house I rebuilt. My tenants would scramble. My mortgage autopay would keep charging for a place I couldn't control. I even drafted a text to Tiffany. "What if I pay you to leave?" I stared at it. Then I deleted it. The law was on my side. The porch was not. I chose to be ruthless in a legal, polite way. So yes, I weaponized compliance. Not to be cruel, to protect the house. And maybe, just a little, to watch the city measure that porch like a guillotine on a string. The papers and the panic spiral. The panic hit in waves. First wave, 30 days. Second wave, pay her rent now. Third wave, my own signature, but from when I thought sideswept bangs were a legal strategy. I sat at the table, staring at the eviction packet like it might sprout legs and leave. It didn't. It just whispered, "Clock's ticking." I made another coffee I forgot to drink. The process server's taillights were still a ghost in my window when my phone buzzed. Tenant alert. Carlos again. "She taped a new management notice in the hallway," he said. "Her email is bosslady@aol.com. I said, "Save it. I'm sending a formal notice." He said, "My uncle says you should file a contested transfer today. Bless the uncle network." I opened my email to my lender. Subject, fraud alert on property. I attached the fake assignment and typed, "Please note attempted unauthorized transfer. Title insurance in place. All payments current." Their auto reply was instant and soothing. "We're reviewing." Then the least soothing thing happened. My mom called. "I saw Facebook," she said. "Are you homeless?" I said, "Mom, if Facebook is breaking your news, log off. It's a Tuesday, not an apocalypse." Then came the shame spiral. I thought about the time I joked to Tiffany years back. "You basically live here." I meant you won't leave my kitchen. She took it as precedent. I thought about every time I avoided a fight to keep family peace. I thought about every screw in that porch corset. I wanted to call, to bargain, to offer a buyout just to make the headache stop. I even typed it. "What number makes this go away?" I watched the cursor blink. It looked like a warning light. I deleted the text and wrote to my attorney instead. Attorney reply was quick. "Do not pay. Do document." He attached 2 forms, a tenant notice and a city clerk template for contest of transfer and preservation overlay. I copied, pasted, and didn't add a single joke, which for me is growth. Tenants got the email. Rent unchanged. Do not pay third parties. Call police if pressured. City audit pending. Carlos responded with a photo of a tape measure like a sword. Priya replied, "I'll be home for inspectors." Also, her font choices are a hate crime. The printer hummed out my binder dividers like a lullaby for the anxious. Tabs labeled chain of title, permit history, setbacks, photos, tenants, HOA, notary. One more tab, vulnerability, just a sticky note that said, "You're scared, stay factual." I tucked it up front where my eyes would hit it before my mouth did. Phone buzz, private number. "Law office," a voice said, like it just borrowed a tie. I asked for counsel. He materialized, sounding like a toner salesman with allergies. "We believe continuous occupancy confers equitable title." I asked for case law and recording numbers. He said, "We'll circle back." I said, "Please circle forward with a docket." He hung up into a saxophone hold music that kept playing after the call ended. Haunted. The lender called back. "Real human, calm voice. We flagged your account. Any recorded transfer attempt will ping our system. Keep paying as usual." I exhaled a little. Then I inhaled panic again because Tiffany posted a selfie from my sidewalk, standing strong against corrupt landlords. She tagged the city, my HOA, and a kombucha brand. Comments were a soup of queen and "Get permits like the rest of us, babe." I screenshotted, labeled, filed. Public cell phones, page 1. I needed something I could win today, so I picked the smallest battle, the notary. The stamp on her assignment listed a commission number that didn't match our state's format. I cross-checked the state registry. The listed notary had moved to Montana 4 years ago. I found her Etsy shop for crocheted dog hats. I printed it like it was Supreme Court precedent. The bingo free space lit up. Notary nonsense. Ding. Another ping. HOA president. I saw a new owner post. She wrote, "CCing 3 committee members and a JPEG of my porch's shameful era. Please confirm." I replied with the contested transfer filing, the audit citation, and 4 words. No change in ownership. She responded with the fastest received I've ever seen her send. The woman who once emailed me about my recycling bin's optimistic angle had found a higher calling, gatekeeping compliance. My spouse came home early, eyes wide. "Are we okay?" I didn't fake it. "I'm scared," I said. "But the law actually has our back." We sat at the table staring at the binder like it might make dinner. We talked about worst-case scenarios. What if the judge believed her? What if the city punted? What if our tenants bailed? Then we wrote a simple plan. Keep paying, keep documenting, lock down access, no direct contact, let the city talk in stickers. That night, I walked the duplex in the dark, listening. Houses creak differently when they're stressed. Mine sounded like it was holding its breath. I ran my hand along the brick. "I've got you," I said, because talking to property is free. Somewhere down the block, a dog barked at a raccoon. Symmetry. Back home, I set alarms. Clerk appointment, lender follow-up, inspector window. I laid out clothes like a courtroom was a runway. I wrote one line at the top of my legal pad. "Don't be loud, be right." Then I put my phone on Do Not Disturb and slept like a person being chased by fonts. Morning would be cookies for the clerk, a stamp from Mateo, and the first real move. The panic was still there, but now it had a job. Municipal rabbit hole and the first clue. City Hall's website looked like a museum exhibit titled Computers Before Hope. Every link opened a sideways PDF that smelled like toner and regret. I typed Historic Overlay Transfer Audit into the search bar and got a newsletter about feral peacocks declaring independence. Close, but not my problem, yet. I chased breadcrumbs. Preservation, certificate, pre-transfer. Each click was a scavenger hunt where the prize was a broken link named Coming Soon, HTM. I opened so many tabs my laptop sounded like it was auditioning for takeoff. Page 27 of a planning agenda finally coughed up a footnote. Integrity Audit, HD1 Contested Transfers. No hyperlink, just a tease. I wrote it down like it owed me money. New approach, geographic. I pulled up the GIS map, which rendered my block in Minecraft. My parcel was shaded HD1 Historic Neighborhood Preservation. The boundary line wobbled over my lot like a drunk snake. I cross-checked the county assessor. Contributing structure, overlay HD1. Contributing! I was now an unpaid member of History's HOA. That label made Tiffany's porch corset glow red in my brain. HD1 means exterior changes need a certificate and a permit. Her vibe station had neither. Setback minimum, 10 feet. My survey showed the porch flirting at 8. If a transfer is contested in HD1, the city has to verify integrity. Integrity hates pallet wood. The website was gaslighting me, so I called the clerk. She answered like we'd met at a bake sale in a past life and said, "Come in with cookies." The way she said cookies made them sound like IDs. I baked a tray of bribes and walked into City Hall like a Girl Scout with evidence. The clerk took a snickerdoodle, flipped a Rolodex that looked like a time machine, and vanished into archives. Capital A, like Narnia but dustier. She returned with a manila folder stamped 1929 and a paperclip that predated modern medicine. Inside, typed pages about gazebos, windows, and my new favorite clause, Pre-Transfer Integrity Audit in Contested HD1 Transfers. It mandated measurements, photographs, and, if necessary, exploratory removal of non-permitted additions to assess conformity prior to any recognition of ownership change. Bureaucracy with a scalpel. I photocopied like a raccoon at Kinko's. Then I found Mateo at the permit counter, guardian of sanity. He clocked my binder, my cookies, and my face. "Receipts?" he said. I slid the porch photos and survey overlay across. He measured on screen. Beep, beep, beep. Setbacks 10. Your enclosure's 8. He didn't touch Tiffany's assignment at first. When he did, he used 2 fingers like it was spicy. "Fonts are beefing. Notary format's wrong," I whispered. "Montana." He smiled like a cat who found a laser pointer. I asked, "If I file a contest?" He tapped the 1929 clause. "We're obligated to schedule the audit before any transfers recognized." His voice had the calm of a judge in a nap. "And if violations show?" He shrugged. "Stop work, deconstruction if needed, no transfer until corrected." Translation: she wants keys. She'll get inspectors with tape measures and opinions. I filed the notice on the spot. Parcel ID, basis for contest, evidence list. I attached the HOA newsletter roasting my porch, tenant statements about loyalty pricing, the survey overlay, and a full-color close-up of pallet wood pretending to be. Architecture. Basis for contest. Non-conforming exterior enclosure. Unpermitted interior kitchen. Notarization irregularities. Continuous lawful occupancy unmet. I resisted adding "See Exhibit," audacity. Growth. Mateo stamped the form with a thump I felt in my teeth. Audit within 10 business days. Expect noise. I said. I brought earplugs and tabs. On the way out, I flipped the 1929 minutes again and found the origin story. A man in a bowler hat tried to slap a third story on a bungalow. The city invented the integrity audit to stop enthusiasm from becoming structural. Legacy of petty heroes. I left with copies, crumbs, and a new religion: code. Back home, I tightened the plan. Tenants got a clean email. Audit date pending. Access limited to inspectors. No third-party tours. Call me and the police if anyone insists. I printed labels for the house itself. Blue tape arrows where the enclosure crossed the line. Notes on shutoffs. Sticky flags at the illegal vent. If the city was bringing clipboards, I was staging an open book test. I had one moment of doubt around midnight. I stared at the ceiling and asked the dark, am I going too far? I'm literally asking the city to cut into my house. The ceiling, unlicensed in therapy, said nothing. The wall smelled faintly like damp where the porch hugged the siding. That answered me. Being nice had gotten me a pallet shrine to code violations. Being lawful might get me my house back. I set an alarm titled "Be Right, Not Loud." I filed the last PDF, stacked my binder, and slept with the calm of a person who knows where the bodies are buried and that none of them are up to code. City Hall, characters, and cracks in the claim. City Hall smelled like toner and dry resolve. Mateo saw my binder and grinned like a bouncer who respects a good fake ID but still won't let it in. "Show me the skeleton," he said. I slid the porch photos, the survey overlay, the HOA pixel roast, and Tiffany's assignment that looked like fonts lost a custody battle. He pinched the corner of the page. "This stamp is cosplay," he said. "And this date? Cute. She time-traveled past your lien release." He ran a digital measure over my parcel. "Setback's 10. Your enclosure's 8. We're going to need inspectors with hobbies." The clerk popped up like a sitcom neighbor, took a cookie, and whispered, "Archives loved your snickerdoodles." Then she slid over the official audit scheduler form like a VIP wristband. Box to check. HD1 Pre-Transfer Integrity Audit. Mateo said, "Once we file, it's not vibes anymore, it's calendars." I signed with my adult signature, no emo flourish, and felt that stamp thump through my bones. We did the stakes talk like a fire drill. If the audit finds violations, we issue stop work, and we can order exploratory removals before any transfer is recognized, Mateo said. Worst case, we open walls. Best case, we open walls. I asked about backlash. He shrugged. "She'll post. You'll file. We like filing." Tiffany arrived uninvited, armed with a selfie stick and a hot take. "Excuse me, I'm the incoming owner," she announced to the lobby. 3 clipboards didn't even look up. She zeroed in on me. "You think paperwork scares me?" I said. "No, inspectors do." Mateo stepped in with the calm of a babysitter. "Ma'am, an audit has been scheduled. Please watch your mail." She blinked. "I don't get mail. I get DMs." Mateo gestured at the door. "We do mail." Crack one in her claim showed up at records. The historian on duty slid the county index across the counter. My deed, refinance, lien release. Neat little stack. Under assignments, a blank space that glowed like a lie detector. "Nothing recorded to Miss Tiffany," the historian said, as if reading a weather report. Tiffany's lawyer called right then, voice full of toner. "Recording in process," he claimed. The historian lifted a brow so high it needed scaffolding. "Either it's recorded or it isn't." I put the phone on speaker. "Case law?" he said. "Therefore," 4 times, then hung up to gather his particles. Crack 2, notarization. Mateo pulled the state registry on his screen. "Your notary moved to Montana in 2019, he said. I nodded. "She now makes crocheted hats for dachshunds." Mateo blinked, impressed and a little sad. "I'm adding dog hats to the notes." We drafted the notice packet like we were plating sushi. Cover letter, contest of transfer, HD1, exhibits, survey overlay, porch measurements, tenant statements, HOA newsletter, lender alert, notary registry printout, and a screenshot of Tiffany's new management note featuring bosslady@aol.com. Mateo slipped in one more, a photo of the porch's inside corner showing deck screws flirting with concrete. "Inspectors love ugly details," he said. "It's their poetry." Clerk stamped the certified mail. "Letters to all parties," she said, reading the addresses. Tiffany's apartment, her mom's place, the lash studio where she sometimes receives packages as sweet. B, Mateo added, "and counsel." The clerk circled a name and snorted. "He faxes from a UPS store." I handed her another cookie. merit-based distribution. We grabbed a room for a quick prep with the audit team lead, Alvarez, hat brim tan, clipboard squared like a moral compass. He read the clause from 1929 out loud, voice like gravel and bedtime. Where transfer is disputed in HD1, an integrity audit shall precede recognition of ownership. He looked at me. You ready to let us cut if we need to? I swallowed. Yes. He nodded once. Good. We're kinder than rot. When joined with a laser measure and the energy of a person who labels their labels. Setback, venting, electrical, gas. We'll start outside, she said. We document. We don't debate. Mateo added, don't narrate. Just be present. I wrote that on my palm. Be present, don't narrate, and promised myself I'd only speak in exhibits. We did a walkthrough of my prep. I'd taped blue arrows where the enclosure crossed the line, flagged shutoffs, printed the setback diagram with a red 10 feet that way arrow. Alvarez approved like a judge tasting soup. You're a delightful pain, he said. Compliment received. Crack 3 came from Tiffany herself. She stormed back in waving a lease-to-own page like a flag. Continuous occupancy equals equitable title, she declared. Alvarez read the clause. Continuous lawful occupancy in a conforming structure, he corrected. Lawful and conforming are doing heavy lifting here, she said. I improved the property. Wynn asked, with what permit numbers? Silence arrived and unpacked a suitcase. As we wrapped, the clerk slid me a copy of the audit schedule. Expect noise, she repeated. Also, hydrate. Outside, Tiffany was on live telling 312 viewers she was being silenced by Big Permit. A neighbor walked by eating a popsicle and asked, is Big Permit hiring? I filed that quip under community support because Petty needs witnesses. At the curb, Mateo tapped the folder. You've got law, math, and mold. She has posts. Alvarez added, we don't do posts, we do findings. Wynn clicked her laser measure like a metronome. See you audit day. I held the packet like a shield and exhaled a laugh I'd been hoarding. Cracks weren't just showing, they were widening, clean and measurable. And the tape, bless it, was on my side. The loophole revealed. Weaponized compliance. Here's the lever. That 1929 clause isn't cute trivia. It's a municipal crowbar. In HD1, if a transfer is contested, the city must pause ownership recognition and run a pre-transfer integrity audit. Not may, must. And if non-conforming work exists, inspectors can order exploratory removal before anyone debates title. Translation. Tiffany wanted keys. She gets tape measures and controlled demolition. The day the certified notices landed, my phone vibrated like a wasp. Carlos texted a photo. Tiffany reading the envelope on the porch, turning the color of uncooked shrimp. Her caption to the sidewalk audience, this is defamation by envelope. Meanwhile, the clerk emailed me the official audit window and Alvarez added notes. Exterior first, mechanical next, possible cuts. He asked, you still consent to openings? I said, I consent to truth. I staged the battlefield without the drama. Blue tape at the property line. Printed setback diagram at eye level. Labels on shutoffs. A polite sign. City inspectors only. Audit in progress. I even set out bottled water because hydration softens conflict and keeps people from fainting when they see mold. Tiffany DM'd. Last chance. Hand over keys and I'll reimburse your paint. Paint. I replied with the audit order and no emojis. She responded with voice notes that sounded like a blender full of marbles. I forwarded them to a folder titled Operatic and went back to placing rulers. Audit morning, Alvarez and Nguyen arrived with vests, calm, and clipboards that probably have better credit scores than me. Tiffany greeted them like a cruise director. Welcome to my historic property. Alvarez didn't blink. We're here under HD1 Pre-Transfer Integrity Audit. He held the order where the sun could read it. Nguyen clicked her laser measure and pointed to my tape line. Setback is 10, she said. The enclosure, bless it, said 8 just by existing. Tension check. I need a record that can't be memed away. Tiffany needs to narrate. Nguyen cut the noise fast. We document. No debate during measurement. Laser beeped. Notes landed. Alvarez asked for a permit card. Tiffany offered confidence and a candle-scented shrug. He wrote, no permit displayed. She tried the talisman again. Grandfathered. Alvarez set his finger on the clause. Grandfathering requires proof of prior lawful installation. She waved a Facebook memory like it was a deed. Nguyen said, Facebook is not a permitting authority, and took photos of the post sinking into concrete with deck screws. Ugly, glorious, documented. Inside the basement, Nguyen followed my arrow to the not a kitchen Tiffany swore was a vibe station. Craigslist stove. Vent vanishing into a closet. Gas line that looked like it was installed by a personality quiz. Wynn measured the clearance to combustibles and hummed a no. Non-compliant venting. Inadequate clearance, she said into her mic. Alvarez popped the panel and found spliced wires wrapped in holiday tape. He shut the breaker like a lullaby for fire hazards and tagged the box. Then the clause sharpened. Alvarez read it again, careful and slow. Exploratory removal shall be undertaken to verify conformity. Tiffany screeched. Exploratory means gentle. Alvarez smiled with his eyes. Exploratory means we open what we must. He radioed the city crew, controlled cuts on the enclosure, and a small opening at the vent wall. Rico arrived with a panel saw and the patience of a saint. They taped off, labeled each panel, and made the first clean cut. Under pallet cladding, house wrap that looked stapled by a squirrel, sheathing half-rotted where water kissed the bad decisions, and a window someone half-covered like the house was winking. Nguyen photographed the egress obstruction and the failing flashing, which is to say, no flashing at all. Alvarez tapped a stud. It rattled like a maraca. Document. Non-structural members used as structural, he said, already writing the citation in his head. Back at the wall cut, the vent dumped its confession. The duct dead-ended into a joist bay wrapped in Christmas paper. Mold had started a mural called Consequences. Nguyen stepped back, calm but firm. Immediate remediation required. Tiffany murmured, It's patina. Nguyen blinked slow. That's fungus. By the time they chalked the property line again, the enclosure had nowhere to hide. 10 feet required, 8 present, no permit, no certificate, no prayer. Alvarez read the numbers into the record like coordinates. Then the order landed. Stop work. Immediate removal, sufficient to inspect the entire underlying wall, and suspension of any ownership recognition pending compliance. Tiffany tried a last stand. You can't tear down my investment. Alvarez gestured to the code. We are not tearing down your investment. We are removing an unlawful obstruction so we can assess the house you tried to transfer. He nodded to Rico. Screws sighed. The first post came. Free like a loose tooth. The enclosure sagged, straps caught, and the pallet cathedral met a dumpster labeled No Dreams. Here's the psychology piece. I asked myself again, am I being too ruthless? Then I looked at the black mold bloom behind the vent and the wobbling stud pretending to hold up a roof. Ruthless is letting that sit because I don't want to be mean. Lawful is choosing saws over silence. So I stood there, quiet, while the city did what the code promised it would do. Weaponized compliance isn't about spite. It's about safety with documentation. And right then, it sounded like a panel saw singing on key, social media meltdown, and petty receipts.